Taylor deleted the picture off both platforms minutes after uploading it. Gentlemen, Stephen A. Smith, you are up first. Which team needs Cam the most right now?
Well, I would tell you the Los Angeles Chargers, I think, need him. They lost Phillip Rivers, but I also think that you have to take into consideration the fact that when we look at the Los Angeles Chargers, recognizing the fact that Phillip Rivers can throw the football, even though he threw in 20 interceptions last year, he got no protection whatsoever. And it was one of those situations where he was under constant pressure, and as a result, because he's lost some velocity on his throws, he's aged, attrition has kicked in to some degree. He still threw for over 4,000 yards, about 4,600 yards, still threw about 23 touchdowns. But those 20 interceptions were not bad. In the end, though, the real impediment to their success was Phillip Rivers' inability to run with the football. He was no mobile threat at all. You didn't have to worry about him scrambling one bit. Obviously, that would be vastly different with Cam Newton as your quarterback. Cam Newton, as Max likes to point out, before he had gotten hurt a season and a half ago or so, he was to complete like 67% of his passes, which was the best of his career, albeit under the stewardship of Norv Turner, the former head coach with the San Diego Chargers, who was the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers in 2018 and 2019, rather. The bottom line is this. If Cam Newton were to end up with the Chargers, with Anthony Lynn as your coach, with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry and those boys, with his ability to move with the football, meaning with his legs, I think that would be a significant upgrade compared to what they had with the immobile Phillip Rivers right now. And I definitely think it's something that they should do.
Well, I think the Chargers are obviously make a lot of sense from different points of view, but there were two teams I thought of before the Chargers. Last week I was telling you Denver or Washington. I settled on Washington. Ron Rivera could put the band back together. Washington fans would easily trade their fortunes over the last many years for the fortunes of, say, the Carolina Panthers, same head coach, same quarterback, same backup quarterback. But Ron Rivera has since come out and said Dwayne Haskins is the guy. If that's true, then I'm still on Denver, Stephen A. You look at John Elway. John Elway was a quarterback with amazing physical tools who didn't always put up the same kind of numbers that some of the other quarterbacks did. When you look at the all-time great quarterbacks, a lot of people have Elway in the top 5. It's not because of the passing accuracy. He was just a physical phenomenon who could lead his team to a lot of wins and ultimately Super Bowls finally when he got a running back. So he would have a guy running the show who gets that, because that's really what Cam Newton is, a version of that kind of quarterback. But more than that, look, they think Drew Lock is their guy. At least they're saying so, much like Washington's saying about Haskins. And Drew Lock went 4-1 to close the season. But the league started catching up to him toward the end of the season. The yards per attempt went down, all that kind of stuff. So then you look, is there precedent for a quarterback, a young quarterback who's winning a lot, to be replaced by a veteran quarterback who's gotten to the ultimate stage? And yeah, in Denver there is. Tim Tebow to Peyton Manning. I'm not saying Cam Newton's Peyton Manning, but Cam Newton was considered the best player in football not all that long ago, and he had regained much of that form, as you mentioned, Stephen A., before he got hurt. So does he make sense in Denver? Whether it's to compete for the job, back up a young kid, take the job as a starter, and the young kid's the understudy, the answer is yes. Also keep in mind that Denver had a free agent haul in the offseason. They traded for A.J. Bouye for right before the free agency period started. They have addressed concerns they've had in different areas of the team, and they look poised otherwise to do something, but to make a little run, especially the way they closed the season. If you're not sold on Drew Lock, and I'm not sure that they are, Cam Newton makes a lot of sense, even if only for insurance.
Guys, I think we're forgetting the most obvious one. First and foremost, Cam Newton, if indeed he is healthy, is better than the starting quarterback on at least half the teams in the NFL. The team that doesn't have a starting quarterback essentially is Jacksonville, but they're not going to sign him because they are blatantly tanking for Trevor. So let's then go to the really intriguing one. As we speak, the quarterback room in New England consists of Brian Hoyer, Cody Kessler, and Jarrett Stidham. Stidham has thrown 4 passes in his life, and the other 2 are journeymen. And with all due respect to them, that's all that they are. If the New England Patriots are entertaining thoughts of accomplishing anything of consequence this season, I strongly doubt that that is the quarterback room they're anticipating. Now, you hear little whispers about them possibly trying to get Matt Stafford. Maybe they try and make a really dramatic move in the draft. I'm interested to see what they do, but I can't imagine they're going to stand pat with what they have. And to give Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, the opportunity to try and play with the weapon that Cam Newton has the potential to be if he is healthy is a very intriguing one. So if New England decides that he's a worthwhile roll of the dice, that to me would be by far the most interesting possibility that's out there for Cam.
Well, let me say this to both of y'all. Mike Greeny, Max Kellerman, I think both of y'all need to be tested. Something's wrong with y'all. Number one, if you are Cam Newton going to New England, why in God's name would you want Cam Newton to succeed Tom Brady? Now, you want a no-name. You want somebody with minimal expectations. You do not want somebody that was a star in this league, that was a former league MVP, but went to a Super Bowl, but has never won a Super Bowl championship in his years in the NFL. And then he goes to New England, and the barometer is Tom Brady. The standard is Tom Brady. You don't want to put Cam Newton in that situation when he's 31 years of age. There are people speculating that we may have very well seen the very, very best of him. You don't want that for him. You're better off having a no-name. In terms of Max Kellerman with Denver, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Philip Lindsay or whomever. Listen, these guys are nice players or what have you. Fangio is a defensive mind. We know the job he did in Chicago as defensive coordinator before he went to Denver. It's not an accident, though, that they were the 28th ranked offense with the 28th ranked pass and attack. You want Cam Newton to walk into that situation after years of dealing with Kelvin Benjamin and stuff like that. Can the man go someplace where he's got some receivers? Can the man go someplace where he's got some dogs that you know can get the job done? Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.